Today we will how to the perfect engagement party and engagement photo shoot. Stay tuned. Hello again, how-tooligans, or maybe for the first time. Today we are continuing on our wedding planning journey. Basically, if this wedding planning series was you scaling Everest, this step in the process would be you getting off the plane in Kathmandu. As an aside, I learned that those that do want to scale Mount Everest first fly to Kathmandu, Nepal, then fly to Lukla, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and then trek 10 days to the Mount Everest base camp. That's crazy. Okay, go impress your friends with your knowledge now. Please take a moment to hit the big red subscribe button and the bell so you're always notified when I post new content. And also comment below and let me know how your wedding planning process is going. I'll be posting new content every How Tuesday, so please do join me. Let's get back to the engagement stuff. If you haven't checked out my episode in this wedding planning series on how to make your budget for your wedding, then I strongly suggest you do so, like immediately after this one. I know you're excited about being engaged, and you should be. But before we get into planning your engagement party or engagement photo shoot, you need to decide if these items are going to be counted in your budget for your wedding, or if you're gonna have them at all. Look, this is going to be up to you and your fiance. I chose not to have an engagement party because I didn't feel like trying to pull all of that together, and it really wasn't that important to me. Now, we did do an engagement photo shoot though. I highly recommend you do the photos. You really will treasure them. The party, I don't know. For me, I guess the biggest draw to have an engagement party at all is that you could potentially ask your wedding party to be your wedding party at the engagement party. But wait until you see that episode that I'm going to do. It will be covering how to ask people to be part of your wedding party or bridal party for the traditional folks. You may end up accidentally hurting some feelings if you ask one of your friends to be in the wedding party in front of others that you don't intend to. Yeah, that'd be pretty uncomfortable. Anyway, let's get started. So in each of these videos on how to plan your wedding, I'll be telling you what the traditional etiquette is, and then you can decide if you want to follow it or not. I do want to stress the importance of some of the etiquette items. I'll tell you which ones I think are really super important and which ones aren't that necessary for you to follow, but do pay attention to the ones I tell you are really important. Okay, so tradition would dictate that the bride's family would host, aka pay for, the engagement party. This, however, doesn't have to be the case. Honestly, if the family of the bride is going to be contributing any money to the wedding, I would kind of, as a couple, feel better paying for the engagement party ourselves, or not even having one. You don't want to seem insulting by constantly asking for money. Once you and your fiance have decided if you're having an engagement party, or a few, which is kind of customary if you and your fiance happen to live in a different city than you grew up in, or if you and your fiance come from different cities, and you've decided who is hosting, it is now time to set your date. It's fairly important to try and have the party as soon after the proposal as possible. You could even take and announce your engagement at the party, although I wouldn't write that it's an engagement party on the invitation, obviously, unless of course you plan on Tarantinoing your party. I would say no longer than 1 month after your proposal is the sweet spot for when you want to have your party. After that, well, it's kind of old news. So now you know how fast you have to pull this party together. This step and the next couple of ones that I'm going to mention really need to be pulled together at the same time. I'll explain as we go. Here's a little more of that etiquette I mentioned. If you happen to invite someone to your engagement party, you pretty much have to invite them to the wedding. You can really hurt some people's feelings if you don't do this, so I would say that this piece of etiquette is pretty much non-negotiable. That being said, you and your fiance need to sit down and carefully decide who you want to invite to your wedding. This is also why the first episode of this series talks about making a budget for your wedding before you even do the engagement party. It's wise to keep the engagement party more intimate and small. That way you can pretty much guarantee that the people that you invite to the engagement party will warrant a wedding invitation too. If the engagement party is being thrown for you, then the date and venue and guest list are going to be less in your control. But if you're the one planning it, then listen up. I'd pick a couple of restaurants out that have enough space to accommodate the number of people you think are going to come to the party. Do remember what I said before though. Expect half of the people that you invite to the party to actually come. The number is more like 2/3 for the actual wedding. So if you're going to invite 20 people, you need a place that can comfortably accommodate like 12. Then start with your first choice of restaurant and ask if they have the date that you want available. And of course, how much it's gonna cost. Then your options will get narrowed down organically. Ta-da! Okay, I'm not thrilled with the idea of this. Traditionally speaking, you are not given gifts at the engagement party. Tons and tons of gifts are about to come your way during the entire wedding planning process. So don't get it in your head that you deserve a gift for getting engaged. However, some people do want to get you something for your engagement. Instead of rushing to pick out a china pattern or some holiday gravy boat, I would recommend that you sign up with something like Honey Fund. I'll put the link below. This allows people to contribute to a virtual piggy bank that funds your honeymoon. This is going to be so valuable to you because it will take some of the stress off about getting money together for the honeymoon or maybe even wedding planning. This is a good place to set the tone for the types of wedding invitations that you plan on sending out. Remember, you'll probably have some input or completely handle wedding invitations, wedding save the dates, bachelorette party invitations, bachelor party invitations, wedding shower invitations, and even rehearsal dinner invitations. Yeah, let all that sink in. I chose to do the super formal wedding invitations and then in turn also stuck with paper invites for all the other things. Just a lot simpler. If that sounds like too much for you, then this would not be a bad opportunity to try out an Evite system, or maybe even social media. That is, of course, if your crowd is going to be more young, millennial based. You gotta remember, Meemaw don't know how to use Facebook and Twitter. You gotta play to your audience, or in this case, guest list. If you've chosen your restaurant, now you need to figure out what's going to be served. I'm going to urge you to do what most people do for an engagement party and not serve anything heavier than heavy hors d'oeuvres. Think like a 5 o'clock happy hour time frame. Nibbles and sips. A dinner is going to run you a lot more moolah, and it's going to make it difficult for you and your fiance to work the room. Maybe you could even throw a tea party. The options are endless. But again, I definitely steer clear from a full meal. Which, by the way, quick PSA, if you don't serve a meal, then don't have a party at common meal times. Don't invite people to a restaurant at 7 p.m. and not give them enough food for a full meal. You're just going to end up ticking them off, and they're going to leave your party to go to another restaurant for a real meal. This is going to be like your first real opportunity to do the cutesy couple matching outfits kind of thing. And of course, everyone will see how much you're in love and think it's adorable. Some ladies even use this as an opportunity to start wearing white, which, up to you, go for it. You could even use this opportunity to pick out outfits that you and your fiance will wear later on in your photo shoot. Please do the photo shoot. I promise you it's worth it. Definitely dress for your venue, but a good middle ground for an engagement party is business attire. Kind of like what you would see the British royals wear on a normal day. If you're hosting your engagement party at a rodeo, though, see my first rule. Dress for your venue. Seriously? You don't have time for this. You have a wedding to plan. Having some candles for ambiance, or maybe some white rosebuds on the table, fine. Ambiance is fine, but don't drop any real money on decorations. You don't have no time for that. Let me know how your engagement party planning is going in the comments below, and also on the How to Hilton Facebook page. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, moving on. Now the engagement photo shoot. I highly recommend that you arrange to have a photo shoot once you've gotten engaged. I'm so happy I did. What I will be covering is the timeline for your engagement photo shoot adventure. Okay, if you're already engaged, I realize this is some dumb advice, but I hope that you got some photos and videos of your actual proposal. You definitely want to remember this milestone in your relationship. Here are a few from my proposal. Camera click, camera click, camera click, camera click. If you cannot tell from the photos, my husband decided to be totally extra and proposed to me on a helicopter ride. I can't imagine a more awesome way to propose. Comment below and tell me what your proposal story is. Moving on. These are the official, you need to get really special outfits, you might want to hire a professional, you need to get your hair and makeup done kind of photos. I'm talking about 1 to 2 months after your proposal is about the time frame you want to start looking into getting these done. You're going to have a couple of different opportunities to use them, like if you're planning on submitting an engagement announcement to your local newspaper or publication, then you would use this pic of you and your fiance for that. Other uses include the save the dates for your wedding, engagement party invitations, your wedding website, or even holiday greeting cards if you happen to be engaged over the holidays. I honestly would not spend a lot of money on this shoot. I chose to use a Groupon for the photographer and use the opportunity to shop around a couple of local salons to do my hair and kind of get a feel if I thought they'd be good for the wedding day itself. I ended up loving my hairstyle. Vintage, like victory roll kind of look. I know, it was kind of a bold choice. I ended up not picking the same place that I used for my engagement shoot for my wedding because even though I love the style of my hair, I didn't feel like it'd be a good atmosphere for the day of the wedding. So, yeah, progress. I showed you a couple of my engagement shoots, my official engagement shoot pictures in one of the last videos. So I'm not gonna put a ton up here, but I did want to just kind of show you a couple so you can get the idea. Camera click, camera click, camera click. Now that you have an idea of when to hold your official engagement photo shoot, you're gonna need a theme or a setting. Get creative with this. It might be one of the only opportunities I actually suggest that you fall into Pinterest hard. Don't go like internet meme crazy, but do realize the photographer's basically going to be focusing on your hands touching each other, you gazing into each other's eyes lovingly, that kind of thing. Might as well have a cool backdrop or maybe something that binds you together as a couple, like your favorite sports team. Now you can do another photo shoot closer to the wedding after you've decided who's going to be your wedding photographer, but I don't know. I I didn't think I needed another engagement shoot, and I promise I have not lost a single minute's sleep over that decision. If you're trying to narrow down photographers, or if you want to give the photographer that you've chosen a test run, then why not have him or her shoot your wedding shower, or you dress shopping, or maybe the bachelorette party? Wait, no. Scratch that last one. There probably shouldn't be any photographic evidence of the bachelorette party with some of you guys out there. Thanks for including me on your engagement planning journey. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below and on my Facebook and Twitter page, which are linked below as well. I'm going to be switching gears to Disney next week, so make sure to catch those episodes. Check back every Tuesday and become a How-Tooligan by subscribing below. Make sure to click the bell for notifications on when I post new content, and also comment to introduce yourself and let me know what you want me to cover next. Thanks for stopping by.